It's time for Fort Worth Musical Moments. Join us now as Steve Markwardt takes a look at the music and the artists who made the city's vibrant musical legacy what it is today. Well, hey, look who's back. Happy Black Friday, everybody. Brent Adams along with Steve Markwardt, and jumping in at the last moment, Mike Markwardt. We didn't think he was going to make it today, but he's rallied for the cause here.
I saw my tech. I was getting texts from Mike at 5 o'clock in the morning. So you pulled an all-nighter, didn't you?
Sure did, and I feel great. What a great day. Thanksgiving the day after.
Well, we're glad you joined us. I really didn't think you'd be joining us, but we were good. We had changed the whole show to sit and talk about you behind your back. So.
Man, what a great job y'all both did at our festival last weekend. I appreciate y'all so much.
We appreciated the opportunity, and I tell you what, I didn't even. Steve says we got a hard stop here in about 45 minutes because he's got to get out the door to go to another Thanksgiving luncheon here, and that's a tall order because I was going through all of the footage here, just stuff I had on my phone, and it's.
Let me tell y'all. I'll tell you what. I'll jump. Y'all just can keep going if you want, but I unfortunately I have an engagement I got to be at. So, but y'all carry on after I leave. I mean, I'll just gracefully bow out. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
That sounds like a winner.
I know there's a lot to cover because there's so much to talk about. And let me just begin by, I don't mean to step on you, Brent, but I just want to begin by giving major kudos to Mike, my brother Mike. I'm so proud of Mike, of what you put together. And that show was just, that whole festival was fabulous. And a lot of people, including myself, had a little bit of trepidation about where Blake Milligan might fit in, Drake Milligan, not Blake. Drake Milligan might fit in, but once again, you knew exactly what you were doing, and man, what a way to close that show out. And we'll talk about all of that in this show, but we want to do a complete kind of a recap of the whole festival, and there's so much to talk about here. So,
thank you. Yeah, let's get rolling. Brent, how'd you like to start out?
Yeah, well, I tell you what I want to do here. I put together about a little under 6-minute montage of some of the highlights of the weekend, some of the performers here, and we're going to roll that here. So for folks who weren't able to be there, they can check it out, and for folks who were, they can relive it, and then we'll kind of go from there.
The birthplace of Western Swing Festival.
Oh, there's good stuff here. We'll let it roll.
Ain't nobody home but me. Bring it on down to my house, honey. I need your company. Tomcat sitting on the railroad. Need someone to step into some Tommy Duncan sing. If I go down, I'm going down swinging. Nice down St. Road like Rolling Stone. I stop for every flashing neon light. Driving down here, nothing roads, laying on my radio. They send the whole thing, baby, home tonight. Every down on the beat, that popo said I stood. They lock me up, but I'm going down singing. Oh, so good.
Wow. So if you want to start setting aside your Santa Claus money so you can be there next year, I think that'd be a good thing.
Well, that's some great capture of video, Brent. What a total immersion into traditional country and Western swing music, man. If you can't get your fill on that kind of music, you might as well be horizontal, in my opinion. You know.
Well, you know, there's three unheralded stars there that showed up in just a quick flash of a picture, and that's our three MCs, Mike.
Yes. Starting off with Brent Adams on Thursday, Billy Bowles all day Friday. He also did the MC work at the Stockyards tour, which we took. Well, we were supposed to take buses. The buses no-showed on us. But in spite of that, we still had 200 people hop in their own cars and drive down into the Stockyards Friday. And then, of course, Robert Houston, who performed his band, Arkansas band, the Western Swing Rules, he also was our MC on Saturday.
Yeah. And, you know, and what we didn't show on there was the field trip events, as I call them, the Lake Travis Fiddler group that were just fantastic and really got us excited. I know Brent and I were sitting with Paul Anastasio, the great jazz fiddle player who trained under Joe Venuti, and Paul was just so excited to see these young kids embracing that music. And then you had the and I can't even pronounce the name of the band, but they're the Northside High School mariachi group.
Mariachi Escuelas de Plata.
Very nice.
That's nice.
Yeah, and Cheryl Santos Hatchett did a great job of so she was kind of our fourth MC in a way.
Yes, I love how she tied this old centuries old Mexican mariachi and rag music, those old Mexican rags as well, and polkas, and incorporated the tie-in of that music to Bob Wills moving to Roy, New Mexico. And Bob's first little fiddle band in New Mexico were a group of Mexican mariachi players. In fact, she told the story, I think it was very interesting, that Bob, after hearing their fiddlers, and they had two great fiddlers, he thought, well, heck, their fiddling's better than mine. I'll just play the drums. And Bob played the drums. I'd never heard that story in New Mexico for a period of time while he let those Mexican mariachis play the fiddles, you know.
Well, I think, you know, kind of the underlying storyline through all of that and your methodology of, you know, I know these acts just don't fall together. I know you have a method behind your madness, so to speak. And the underlying message here is that this music, why it was so popular in the 30s, 40s, and why it continues to capture people's attention, and especially today, is because it continues, hopefully. Back in the early days, it was evolving very rapidly and it was a sponge picking up all these different influences, and the mariachi, the polka, the blues, the jazz, the swing, Louis Armstrong type stuff. And so that's something that we must always remember about this genre of music, that this music, for it to survive and continue on past our generation, it must continue to evolve. And that's what, we all try to do. I know us at Clarksville Creative Sound and the A-List Band and people like Drake Milligan, who proved it very effectively, that you can pay homage to the roots of this music, but you can also evolve it and make it new and exciting.
Yeah, Steve, that's exactly how you capture a younger group of artists to persevere and continue this great music, is let it evolve. That is so important. And I also love how your band, the A-List Band, and old Billy Mata's band tie in some of the old jazz and blues roots music to covering a number of jazz and blues songs that y'all did, country blues, if you will. I know you did a couple of Hank Williams tunes that you made them both bluesy and jazzy at the same time. Really fabulous interpretation. And Billy, with his crooner voice, does a lot of great jazz numbers in his repertoire.
Well, I've got Billy on my resentment list because, if you remember, Mike, back in the 80s and 90s, when you and I were doing all these karaoke contests, when we would win them as a duo, but I'd also win them doing my signature song, Mac the Knife.
Yeah.
And Billy Mata stole that from me. And
well, Steve, if there's one guy that can sing old Bobby Darin perhaps better, it might be old Billy.
I don't know. He and I are going to have to arm wrestle. No, Billy's great, and I love his band, and what a great vocalist, and what a great guy.
He is a super guy. And then the traditions of authentic Western swing with Jason Roberts and the Bob Wills Texas Playboys. My goodness, that is so authentic to that mid 1940s sound, that big band sound that Bob Wills ultimately achieved. That was his goal. And then after the war, of course, Bob downsized and went back to the roots of his string music, but still incorporated a lot of electric sounds of electric guitar and steel guitar and electric mandolin. But anyway, Jason pulls that off beautifully. And then Jake Hooker, my goodness, he packs them in. He and Jody Nix, Jake Hooker and Jody Nix are probably the largest drawer of dancing crowds. Boy, they can play that dance music, both Western swing and traditional Texas style country.
Yeah, old Jake is a really fun performer to watch and to listen to. He's got that great kind of a Ray Price type voice, and he plays that stand up bass, which is kind of unique. To play that and to sing must that's a real hat trick. But
Steve, I was going to also interject, and I was so anxious
to sing must that's a real.
Okay. Steve, I was going to also interject, and I was so anxious.
Kurt, I think he needs to turn
We're going to dump him out. Sorry about that. I thought we had him ready to go here to sneak in.
Steve, I was also going to interject, and I was so anxious for you to hear them because you'd never heard them in person, was the Western Flyers on Friday afternoon at National Hall. They were first up at the 3 p.m. slot. And while they had no drummer, and you thought maybe, oh, these guys can't create a dance beat, my goodness, they played unbelievable dance music with a 4-man string band quartet featuring Joey McKenzie on rhythm guitar, perhaps the greatest rhythm guitarist in the world right now. What's his name? Ridge Roberts, who is the greatest fiddler in the world right now. He's won the worldwide fiddle contest 2 years in a row. And then the legendary Red Volkart on electric guitar, and his vocals, his deep baritone vocals, and Matthew Method, who was a great stand-up bass player. Those guys just were so authentic. They played like the Milton Brown style, just pure string band music, and I loved that. So,
well, I'll tell you what, with I think about my band and how big that large band that I've got, and then I saw those guys proving that you can do it stripped down like that. Gives me a lot of hope and gives my bank book a lot of hope too.
Yeah.
Because Joey McKenzie, what a great. I loved his percussive style of playing. He provided that backbeat. He didn't miss the drummer or the bass guitar at all.
Right, exactly. And who none other than Chuck Hallmark Cusimano to kick off the festival. He is such a good singer and has written such a prolific songwriter. He did a number of his original songs that are wonderful, and he had a couple of really good guest singers with him, old C.W. Sturgeon and John White, who did a great job as well.
All those guys are great guys. Yeah, Chuck. I love Chuck. You know, he's a great guy. He and I are still working on writing a song together, which one of these days we're going to finish it. And CW and I had a long talk. We're going to get him involved in some of these concerts that we're going to be doing in 2024.
Oh, good.
And John White, of course, what a prince of a guy. And one of my heroes, you know, he overcame some health issues and he's come back stronger than ever. And so what a great guy. But anyway, Brent, we'll bring you back in here. We kind of stole the platform from you.
No, you're good. As I was listening to all that, the one thing I'm also trying to engineer Kurt Ryle back in here at some point. He said he had to leave because he was hearing all the voices, and I wonder, you know.
Well, he's probably got his
what kind of voices he's hearing.
Oh Lord, yeah,
that is hilarious.
You know, I digress though. I want to circle back around. You know, you were talking about Jason Roberts and the Bob Wills Texas Playboys. We would be remiss if we also didn't mention Katie Shore.
Oh yes,
and you know, of Asleep at the Wheel fame, and the man, what an addition she was to that.
She is fantastic. Both her fiddle skills as well as her singing, beautiful singing voice. And Brent, what'd you think of our Lake Travis fiddlers?
They were awesome, and I definitely want to make sure we send a shout out to Anna Macias, who joined us on Friday afternoon over there at the Stockyards when we were talking about all this stuff here. She was phenomenal and has been doing that for 28 years as an educator at that school. And man, and she actually put me on the trail to a couple of people that are doing fiddling camps and so forth. So we can start kind of promoting what they're doing a little bit. And as we talk about kind of enriching this next generation, a great opportunity for us to kind of start to make the inroads and pave those roads. And heck, why not be a part of the conversation ourselves, you know?
Yes. That what you were alluding to earlier, Steve, about passing this music down to a younger generation. There's nobody I can think of like Anna Macias that's just totally immersed in helping these young high school students in the Austin area. And she's bringing in some famous people like Katie Shore and Ray Benson and Jason Roberts and Ilana James that are helping to train up these fiddlers and other stringed instrument players. And what about that junior in high school? She had a fabulous voice in that band.
Fearless.
I think we're going to have them back again next year for our Stockyards tour because they were so talented.
Well, I'll tell you, the Northside High School mariachi group too. When those two young boys got up there and did that crooning, there was a lot of swooning in the audience.
Yes.
So those are a lot of future stars, right under our noses here that we had no clue about. And so I was grateful that brought that out in the forefront.
I wasn't able to grab that video, but I do have some, I believe, and we'll get that on in a future show so folks can see that too, because I
don't know if you have a photo, Brent, of those two precious children that danced.
I've got some video, and we will get to, I don't have it at my fingertips, but we'll get that up next week here because that was when I looked at that, they were tooling around the dance floor for all 3 days of that festival. I really don't know their backstory. I wish I did, but man, you know, if you talk about one thing that really represented what the future of this looks like. Now, I wish we could have had about 50 more pairs of kids out there like that. But
yes, their mother, Miss Bonnie Paget, has done a wonderful job raising them in the swing tradition. Those kids can dance. I think it's Jonathan and gosh, I can't remember the girl's name, Caviella or something like that. It's kind of an Italian sounding name, beautiful name. But they are so precious. And that little Jonathan's like 8 years old. And he just walks right up to the best looking women and says, "You want to dance?" You know, and he just tears it up on the dance floor.
You know, I first met those kids at the taping of the Penny Gilly show last February, I guess it was. And I was there at Little Red's Longhorn Saloon. And all of a sudden, these two kids walk up, this little girl, little boy, and they had my CD in their hands. and she nudged the little boy, and he came up and he goes, "Will you sign this?" And I was so flattered, and I'm like, "You like my music? Yeah, we love your music."
Wow. They were rock stars on the dance floor. You talk about fearless. Those kids, man, they were better than most adults out there. That was pretty impressive.
Tell you what, they had a great time. They didn't miss a beat. You know, and that's
Oh,
one of the cool things about this whole deal. Like I've said before, from the minute that first note strikes on Thursday till the last note on Saturday night, people are on that dance floor. I mean, it's you know, they don't quit. And
yes. Well, you know, I must reveal a personal feeling I had leading up to Drake Milligan's appearance on stage. You know, we didn't close the curtains in between bands for the most part. And so as Jason ended his tremendous 2.5-hour stint with Bob Wills' Texas Playboys, you started seeing Drake Milligan's band setting up, but no sign of Drake. And in that 30-minute break period, these players come on board on the stage, testing out the sound and everything. And most of them were rather of the longer hair generation, with, you know, goatees and whatnot, and kind of looking like a rock and roll band when you looked at the players in a way, except they did have a steel guitar and piano. But I was kind of nervous, thinking, you know, our crowd is a traditional country western swing crowd. What are they going to think, you know? And from the second Drake stepped on stage and started playing, and he actually donated, or not donated, but he specifically wrote 2 Western swing songs and debuted them at our festival. And I thought that was so cool. His mama, who was there, and father, Jim and Janice Milligan, they told me that Drake for like 2 days straight came into Fort Worth early, and he and the band did like 7 hours a day of rehearsals to get ready for this festival, because normally they play to a 20-something, 30-something packed arena of 30, 40,000 people. And they put together their Texas-style country, kind of leaning a little bit rockabilly music, and don't do a ton of Western swing. They do maybe a touch of it, but they catered their repertoire to our audience and played some great traditional country. They did a Buck Owens little medley, which was fantastic. He also sang a Marty Robbins tune, and he did some great original and cover Western swing songs, you know.
Well, Brent, you and I were back in the RV in the back after the show, and I know I heard it with my own ears. I don't know if you picked up on it, but he said that those swing songs are going to be a part of their regular set list.
Yeah, and that's
exciting. See, that's exactly what we need. Oh my gosh, because he plays to a huge multi-million audience out there across the country, around the world, really. His appearance on America's Got Talent and American Idol several years ago, plus his acting stint at age 18. He played the high school age Elvis on the big CMT Country Music 8-part series TV show. So he's not only a singer, songwriter, musician, but he's a great actor as well. But with that kind of audience and him introducing, or I should say, reintroducing Western swing to that younger audience, that's phenomenal for continuing on this music that we all love.
Well, I think it can't be lost on people too that clip that we played in there. That song was co-written by Vince Gill and recorded with Drake Milligan with the Time Jumpers. So when you've got that kind of validation, he's also written another song with Vince that he played that night, which he also co-wrote with Whispering Bill Anderson. And when you got guys like that in your corner, boy, it really solidifies your credibility.
Passing the torch.
Was that Talking Texas to me? Was that the song he wrote with?
The one? No, there was another one in there, and
Going Down Swinging was one of the Western swing tunes, but there was another one. I think Talking Texas to me, which was great. Right. I think he wrote that song as well.
And there was another one in there too that was earlier on the set list, and the name escapes me. But that Bill Anderson had a hand in with Vince Gill, and And I mean, you're talking about 2 Hall of Fame songwriters and performers that go,
Yes.
you know, with Bill Anderson all the way back to the 50s. You think about City Lights and some of those songs that he's been a part of. My goodness.
Yes, yes.
I think it's important for people that you know, and sometimes I have to have my current belief systems challenged on a lot of fronts. But when we're talking about this kind of music and the fans of this music that are quote unquote the purists, you know, and we have some out there downright snobby about it, you know, and we love them all. But it's so important that we've got to be open-minded about this if this music is to survive beyond us. You know, I can't stress that enough. And you think, and so Mike, you were talking about these players coming out there with the long hair and the goatee. Well, what about Ray Benson? I mean,
yeah, exactly, exactly.
He's an East Coast hippie who took up Western swing, you know.
I guess it was more so the age of all these players. They were all in their early 20s, and they just kind of looked like a rock and roll group when they were setting up. And boy, what a surprise. And hey, speaking of talent, here's old Kurt Ryle.
With the brand new furniture in the background. Mr.
Speaking of hippies.
Hippies, yeah.
I was trying to get on, and you guys, I could hear all of you talking at once, and I realized it was just Steve. It was like a bunch of little demon voices coming out of it. I was having issues with my sound, but I rebooted, and it's all good, guys.
We've already played the video, Kurt.
Did you? I'm darn, man. I wanted to see that.
No, the video of you in the wig.
Oh, good Lord.
Oh, you wanted to see that?
He'll show it 3 or 4 more times, I'm sure. Before.
Nope. We're done for the day.
Brent's got a flashing red button he just pushes. But back to what I was saying, you know, it's and I know we've had some comments about, you know, Drake's stage presence and all that, but we have to remember, and if anything, if your documentary taught us anything, it's that Bob Wills was a very energetic performer, almost radical for his day, getting up there and dancing around, and then the total improvisational aspect of him just pointing that fiddle bow and you better be on your game and all of that. And he was literally, they were making this stuff up as they went along and picking up all these different influences. And that's why that music was so exciting in its day, because it was evolving. And that's what, again, what some of us are trying to do with this music today. And we're, you know, and we know that, you know, we really need to bring in young players. And in fact, Kurt and I are working on that right now, putting together a band of really young, cracked players. I mean, folks that are the best in their areas. And, you know, we're going to take them to a huge stage at some point. And we can't wait for that to happen.
Well, I can't wait for your laboratory testing ground shows that you're planning to do at National Hall, you and Kurt. And man, what a talent Kurt is with his recording studio. Steve, I'm so glad you're a partner in that. But Kurt is recording, I think, some of the finest authentic Western swing sounds. He's got marvelous session players there that play for him. And I would challenge every Western swing band out there, like Billy Mata and Jason Roberts and Jody Nix, any of them, to come cut a record with Kurt in his studio. And I think they'd be thrilled with the output of sound. Kurt uses not just modern digital technology, but he also relies on that analog, the old style analog system that gives you that special twang and sound of Western swing.
You know, thanks for saying that, Mike, because actually there's nothing I would rather do than record some of those guys. I'm such a big fan of Billy Mata, Jody Nix. I love those guys, and it'd be a thrill for me to get them in here and work on their stuff too. But right now, I have to say, Steve right now his stuff is getting more attention than a lot of people, and I think a lot of it is just the stuff that we're writing together, the original songs, you know, and I think that is what's really stirring Steve up right now, is the originality of these songs. We're not going back and just being a cover band and doing a lot of cover tunes. These songs are really good, and so I appreciate you saying that, though, Mike. I'd love to work with those guys.
Yeah, and you helped Steve write some of those songs as well. Not only record them, but you have a great songwriting talent your own self.
Yeah. Steve brought a lot of that stuff. A lot of that stuff on his album he wrote by himself. I didn't have anything to do with it, and some of the things we wrote together. But together, we bring John Castleberry in, who is quite a character on his own. Who, you know, John toured with Bob Dylan and Paul McCartney and those guys. And when we get together, we have a lot of fun writing songs. So, you know, they just come out great because we're enjoying it.
What amazes me is how Kurt can work out we can come up with the lyrics and Kurt can pull that guitar out and work out the melody, because Kurt's, I arguably the best guitar player in Nashville and one of the best in the world, I think. I mean, and another thing that's so great, Kurt, about your studio is you've got the best studio session musicians in the world at your fingertips that you can pull in there, and you bring the right ones in for the right situation. You've got Wanda Vick, a world-class fiddle player who's on the Grand Ole Opry all the time. You got steel players like Tommy White, who's Tommy play with regularly.
Tommy tours a lot with Vince Gill. He also tours with Lady Gaga, if you can believe that. He's out there on the road with just about everybody.
And then we got Doug Jernigan, who we brought in on my first album, who's just a monster steel player. And then you got Dennis Holt on drums, who's just, his meter is flawless. And you got, great bass player. What is it? I can't remember his name.
Yeah, we bring in Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter's probably one of the best session bass players in Nashville.
And then Jimmy Nichols on piano and Dane Bryant, who's Dolly Parton's producer. You don't get much better than that.
Yeah. Did you guys see Dolly Parton yesterday on the Cowboy game?
Yeah, she was a cheerleader. Cowboys cheerleader at age, what is she, 80 now?
77.
And I was shocked at how good she looked. I couldn't believe it.
Look at that figure.
I know. That's amazing.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. I showed that to my two kids, and they were shocked. They said, "Who's Dolly Parton?" And I showed that. I said she's 80-something years old, and they went, "What?"
Yeah.
Speaking of young for their age, let's not forget Lucy Dean.
Wow. Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah. And
and she was there the whole festival too.
She just kept making cameo appearances. She played with Robert Houston's Western Swing Rules. She did a stint with us, played some Sweet Georgia Brown with us, and toured. And the cool thing is she's playing and she's doing that Al Strickland thing where she's looking around at the audience. She's
smiling. Yeah. I noticed that as well. And everybody mark your calendar, June 1st of next year, out near Lockney, Texas, where she's from, I think it's going to be at a VFW hall out there, but maybe y'all can announce it on a January show or something to get folks to come. But she's celebrating her 100th birthday with a big Western Swing concert. She and the Jimmy Burson Band will be performing at that June 1st event. And it's on my calendar. I'm planning to go.
Well, she and Jill have gotten to be really good friends. So Jill definitely said, we got to go down for that. And I agree. I want to make it down for that. So we'll all caravan down there. What a jewel she is. And, it's just amazing.
And do you think we could silence some rumors right now that's going around, Mike, that you're not going to, possibility you might not be doing this next year at the National Hall? Because I don't know. I don't think that thing can work if you're not over it. I've seen you work, and nobody can do what you're doing, brother, if you don't.
I can't continue doing this forever, but I am fully engaged for another festival next year in that glorious National Hall in Fort Worth. It's such a historic hall, and I am going to have a couple of people mirroring me next year with every phase of the planning of that festival, so that perhaps in 2025, maybe they take it over and I could still remain on the board and offer tons of advice and digital input with the design of the flyers and all of that, which I do, and the catalog. But anyway, I think it's got a life of its own now. It's up and rolling, just 3 years, but in 3 short years, I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, but I've heard Robert Houston, Billy Bowles, Steve, everybody say it's become the preeminent Western Swing festival.
It is.
And I know that sounds arrogant, but
no, it's not.
Everybody's
It's
experience,
not.
They just love it, you know.
No, Mike, and I stood by and watched you. I stood by and watched you work that thing and handle that. And I'm telling you, there's nobody that has the desire to make that thing successful more than you do. I don't know who in the world would ever take your place. I hope you don't. I hope you can stick around as long as you possibly want to. But
thank you, Kurt. That's very nice of you to say that.
Well, at least you can bring some people on that can help lighten the load. But Mike, what you've got to learn to do is let go a little bit, you know, and step back and be able to enjoy that thing more. Even though, you know, you seem to be enjoying yourself at every turn. So, you know, but yeah, I'm with Kurt. You know, the passion that you have for this thing, because this was your brainchild from the very beginning, and the fact that you're doing it all so you can be allowed and be afforded to produce that documentary, and ultimately, hopefully, you've still got in your sights this museum somewhere in Fort Worth, chronicling and celebrating the birth of Western swing right there in Fort Worth.
Yes, yeah.
I was not here, by the way, for this whole show, and I'm sure I missed out on a lot. But I just want to say, I had some doubts originally when I heard that you were bringing in Drake Milligan, but how that turned out to be an amazing event too, didn't it? The guy really did an amazing job.
Yes. He like I said earlier, his parents both told me, because they were sitting at my table, that Drake was very serious and excited about our festival, and he had his band do a ton of rehearsing. I think they did like 15 hours.
Wow.
More of a Western swing set for our festival, and yeah, they were just wonderful.
We're very guys, cool. I'm going to have to.
That sounds like Steve's alarm here. Before you get out of here, Steve, we got something big that we want to talk about that's going to be coming up in February at National Hall. Why don't we roll into that real quick,
and then y'all can continue on, because I know we haven't covered everything on the festival, and I'm sure y'all will talk a little bit about our special guests, Junior Brown and Barry Corbin, and Brent. You got some. I just looked at the footage of those interviews, and those are fantastic. So those will be episodes in and of themselves in future Fort Worth Musical Moment shows. But yeah, let's talk about February 3rd real quickly, because it's in stone and we've got it put together. And Kurt and I are extremely excited about this, because we're going to be bringing the real star power of Clarksville Creative Sound to Fort Worth, and they're coming from all different points. You got Evie Mae coming from Indiana. You got the McKettys, Mackenzie and Austin McKetty, and they're going to kind of open things up, and the McKetty band's going to back them. So it's a whole family affair. And then Evie Mae is going to take the stage, and you got Braden Ryle, who is just a rock star, so to speak, and just so much talent, young talent. And then us old folks are going to take the stage and probably close things out and maybe pull those youngins back up there and show them how it's done. But can't wait for that show, and we really want to promote the heck out of this thing and fill the seats and fill the dance floor. The A-list band will be there probably in some iteration. We may not have the full-blown horn section, but we're going to be doing some serious country and Western swing music and showing off this young talent, because, man, I'm telling you, these guys this is the future of country music and Western swing.
Well, and I asked these kids to send me their set list, and I was shocked at the songs that I saw on the set list that they wanted to do. I mean, guys, these people that come out there and dance are going to love these kids, man. I mean, Braden's doing stuff like Amarillo by Morning by George Strait, and he's doing a lot of his original stuff, and Evie Mae going back and pulling stuff out of the 60s. It's just amazing, their set list. They love this kind of music, so we're in good hands, guys.
And of course, Mackenzie's got that twang, and she's an awesome fiddle player. She's come a long way, Kurt, just since we've met her. I mean, I'm sure, but a lot of it's because she's probably the hardest, busiest performing artist out there. I mean, her mom Tracy's got her book just about every other day, it seems like. So exciting, and of course. One thing I do want to say too is I don't know about y'all, but I'm extremely pleased with how our sound system ended up sounding and the lighting system, and I think it provided a whole different experience. So I'm really proud of that.
Yes, thank you, Steve. Thank you, Kurt. I know it was mostly Steve, but Kurt helped out as well.
Sure.
You coupled with a great guy in Bill Johnson, our sound man, to supply a state-of-the-art sound system. Drake Milligan's band members even told me, we do a lot of big gigs, and this sound system, we love. Your sound guys, we love. And
his guitar player, the guy with the kind of the Frank Zappa mustache, he said, we work with a lot of sound people. When we were in the RV, and he said, those guys were great to work with. I said, yeah, it's funny. Most of those sound guys are like old curmudgeons, just grumpy old men. And he said, not those guys, man. They were so friendly, so accommodating. So I want to give a real plug to Bill Johnson and Dallas Sound and Light. Dallas Sound. If you're looking to put a sound system in a bar, a club, or even in your home, Bill is the guy. I mean, he took, I don't know how many hours he spent at National Hall measuring, doing all these sound wave, computerized analytics, and he wanted to make sure that sound was as good right up on the stage as it was in the back corner recesses of that room. And boy, he really accomplished what we hoped he could. And the lighting system too provided a lot more ambiance, and just gave that whole deal a lot more credibility, I guess you could say. I mean, just looked more like a real performing hall.
Yes, Steve, and I'd like to ask that these other big festival organizers, like Melinda Myers with the Legends of Western Swing, like old Jim Fuller out in Canton, Texas, with his big honky tonk and country Western Swing Festival, and Terry Holland down in San Angelo with her Cowboy Gathering Festival, that they consider hiring this Bill Johnson as their sound man. He's fantastic.
You can't go wrong. But listen, guys, I've got to jump because we've got another Thanksgiving dinner with my stepdaughter and her husband over in Dallas, and Jill's got a whole bunch of food that we got to take over there. So I'm going to jump, but y'all carry on.
Quickly before you go, the tickets for February 3rd, can you get them at the door? What are the details?
We're going to be selling them probably through Eventbrite. I'm going to work on setting that up next week. I've been told that Pickle Jar has got their stuff fixed, but I don't know about that. But I think we'll probably be Eventbrite for this, just so we can get cranking. And we're going to be promoting the heck out of this thing. So we'll be selling those online, probably through several different portals, and I'll be more prepared to give that information out real soon. And of course, we'll be selling tickets at the door unless this thing sells out, which I hope it does. And then we'll have John Durham there cooking his signature great food. Kudos to him. And then you got a full bar there with the best drink prices in town. And there's if you want to make a weekend out of it, there's an RV friendly space there as well. So it's going to be great. But anyway,
I think Mike should get up and sing with each artist. I think Mike needs to do a song on every show.
I'm such a ham. I'm too much of a ham, but I love singing, and I just wish there was falsetto parts in Western Swing, but I guess there's not, except for maybe Cattle Call.
Frankie Valli meets Bob Wills, I guess.
There you go.
That could be its own show. Well, hey, be paying attention the next few weeks to Fort Worth Musical Moments. We will give you all the details so you can get those tickets, so you can join us February 3rd, which is Saturday night at National Hall. And Steve, happy Thanksgiving. Happy Black Friday.
Want to also just say, more will be revealed, but Kurt and I and Brent, we're all working with Tommy Snyder from American Country Network came in Thursday. We were really, really grateful that he was able to come in because he's so busy right now launching a television network. You can only imagine what goes into that. They're working on some real exciting things that's going to make this network something to be reckoned with when they come out of the gate sometime in the first quarter of 24. But Tommy was reminded of how much he loves this Western swing music, and so we're working on some cool things with partnering with American Country Network, including our own television show featuring Clarksville Creative Sound. Well, I think we'll talk more about that later, but we've got kind of an idea of how the show's going to go, and we're super, super excited about that. And so we're really looking at two parallel universes. I'll say this for the show. You got the universe of Nashville and all everything that brings. And then, of course, Clarksville, the studio. So Tennessee, and then you got T for Tennessee, and then T for Texas, everything that's going on here in Fort Worth. So that show's going to kind of focus on both of those areas, back and forth. So it's going to be an interesting show, and we're really excited about putting it together, and we'll share more as things materialize. But anyway, I got to run, guys. So happy Thanksgiving. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving, and we're about to go eat some more turkey. So
enjoy.
All right. See y'all later.
How you doing, Steve?
Bye.
Yeah, Steve talking about this February 3rd date, and I think it's going to be like a monthly series of shows at National Hall. Also gives us the great opportunity of having old Kurt Ryle back down in Texas to come to a lot of these events, because he brings such an excitement with his music arrangement and all these players that he has join the band. And after all, Kurt's a Texas boy. His roots, he wasn't born in Nashville, even though he lives near there in Clarksville.
Mike, to be honest with you, I spend most of my time in recording studios in Nashville and here at my place, mainly here at my place. But it is a lot of fun for me to get to go down there and do that. And it was a little stressful over this last one because we had so many songs we were having to do and trying to rehearse and get all that stuff. It was a lot of chaos, but I still really enjoyed it. And so I'm going to try to make as many of those events as I can. And I really look forward to the kids going down there and putting on shows. These kids are really good entertainers too.
Yeah.
They get up on that stage and listen, they command your attention, and every one of these kids are just amazing at what they do. So this is going to be a really fun, and I hope you're there, Mike. I want you to be a part of this.
I want to be at every one of them, and I'll be happy to be an MC or whatever you want me to do. I'll be more than happy. And I just appreciate the fact that you have such roots in this traditional country and Western swing music from your days at the Longhorn Ballroom with old Dewey Groom. I mean, you couldn't have cut your teeth any finer for this music than to be with them back in the, what was it, 70s and 80s? I think?
Well, it was the early 80s. I was the band leader there for about 5 or 6 years, and it was amazing thing to do, because I was playing with Leon Roush every Sunday. He was there. And so I got to work with a lot of the Texas Playboys back then. A lot of those guys were still alive and well. Even the little guitar player, I was trying to think of his name, Mike. I can't, it's just
Elton Chamberlain, or
no, it was the young guy that he brought in. He had a young guy. He ended up committing suicide later, but
was it?
He used to come in.
Yeah.
But 3 or 4 of the Texas Playboys would come in back then, and they get up and play, and man, it was just fun. I enjoyed that, and that's where I really got into Western swing and began to love it. And now I'm determined, just like you, Mike. I'm going to try to make this music work and bring it back. And
I if you'll promise me when you come back, and you need to be the one that sings the song, but you wrote a fabulous Western swing song back in the 80s when Dewey Groom was finally stepping down. Tell us the name of that song and how that happened. I think that's so cool.
Well, the name of the song was "Who'll Play Faded Love," and every night we did Faded Love. We did Bob Wills music every night, and I just remember when it was closing down. And Dewey was he was one of these guys. He was very emotional, sentimental kind of guy. And I thought, you know what? I loved him so much. He was like a father figure to me. And so I wrote this song called "Who'll Sing Faded Love When Dewey and the Longhorn Band Are Gone." And I just got up there one night at the end of the night that everybody was gone, and Dewey was in the back. And I got on the piano and started singing it on the piano. I had a mic, and I started singing that song. And he came out of that back office, and he was in tears. He was crying, and he walked up to the stage and he said, "Can we go in the studio and record it?" And I said, "Absolutely, we can." And we did. And, that was a very sought after record, man.
That's so cool. So cool. Well, you got to sing it in February again, or every time y'all perform it at National Hall. I'd love for you to sing that song.
Yep, I will. Absolutely will. And I'm looking forward to doing this thing in February. It's going to be a lot of fun. And Brent, I hope you're there.
That's the plan for right now here.
We can't hardly do this anymore without Brent. He's kind of keeping this thing rolling, and
Yeah, for a first-time MC guy at our festival, he did a fabulous job.
Man, I thought so too, man.
So professional. And he did a number of wonderful videos that you guys are going to be debuting over the coming weeks.
Hey, look here, guys. Kent Thompson, somebody over here on the side, just said his name is Tag Lambert, and that's exactly right.
Yes, I remember
Tag Lambert. Wow, Kent, you're good, man. I didn't think anybody would know that. Tag Lambert was one of the youngest guitar players Bob Wills had ever brought on stage with him, and yeah, Tag used to come in there and play with us, and it was
great. But yeah, Brent, what were we talking about? Or I was about to mention. I can't remember.
No, you were talking about the videos, and yes, we will have those
videos that you filmed a number of star-studded legends of the music and actors as well at our festival, and I can't wait for y'all to unveil some of those videos that went really well.
Yeah, we did some great long-form pieces with both Barry Corbin and Junior Brown while we were down there. Each of those are in the hour-ish range, so we've actually gotten those put together as full episodes of Fort Worth Musical Moments. So somewhere around the holidays, if we need to step out for a week or so, we can pop those in there, and you guys can enjoy those because they were both very, very insightful in their own ways here as far as what
wait to see that. I haven't seen any of that yet. I'm really looking forward to it. And by the way, Kent Thompson on here says, don't forget us Oklahoma guys. Kent, I was born and raised in Oklahoma, so I'm an Oklahoma guy too. And I just had the great fortune to be able to play in Texas and Oklahoma. So that was Bob Wills' country. It didn't matter which state you were in. So just want to throw that in. Thanks, Kent.
Yeah, man, we've got some great fans here. We've got a lot of great people who show up for this every week, and thank you so much for everybody who makes the time to join this, whether you're watching it live or you're coming back and seeing the replay. It means so much to us. And one of the most gratifying things of being there at the Cowtown Birthplace of Western Swing Festival was just bumping into people who told us that they watch it and check in with it regularly, because sometimes we don't, aside from who's commenting, we don't really know who's watching it here. So the fact that so many people were making mention of that during the festival, we thank you so much for that. And Mike, I got to tell you, I went on from the festival over to Kansas City for the National Association of Farm Broadcasting convention in Kansas City for a few days after the festival ended, and I ran into a number of people who were either watching our videos that we were putting up during the course of the festival, or B, had seen it because other people were putting up videos from there. And I had people coming out of the woodwork saying, man, that looked like a lot of fun. We'd love to be there next year. So the fact that people just unsolicited were coming up and saying, man, that looked like a lot of fun, we need to be there in 2024. That shows we're doing something right here. And that's pretty exciting. The growth potential there.
Yes. Thank you, Brent. And I might add that for the 2024 festival, the dates have been set for November 7, 8, and 9, the second weekend in November. It's always the second weekend in November. And we will have tickets, early bird, go on sale to existing patrons of our festival as well as wait list guests. We will email those folks only and give them a 30-day advance window starting March 1st to buy their tickets to next year's festival. And then on April 1st, we will open it up to the general public to sell out. And usually by May or June, we are sold out. And that'll probably be the case again, I think, because some of the talent we're already talking about for next year is going to be phenomenal. And one thing else I wanted to mention, in your shows leading up to Christmas, if I may, this is being a little forward, and if we need to wait until the following year, we can, if you've got your programs all lined out. But I would love to appear on just a small portion of your Christmas show that's coming up in 3 weeks. It also happens to be the same week that they have the famous 136-year-old Cowboys Christmas Ball in Anson, Texas. And I was hoping to recite the famous poem that was written about that festival in 1886. And I've added some verses to it, kind of updating it to where Bob Wills started playing there in the 1940s and 50s. But anyway, can I give you just a snippet of maybe the first?
Absolutely, you can. And because Steve isn't here, I'm going to have to pull executive rank here and say you're absolutely welcome to come on that show, and we'll get it coordinated so we can have a little audio and video with that and have some fun with it, because it sounds really cool.
Yes, if I may read just the first verse. Now, this was written. This was written by the famed rancher that moved from New Jersey, of all places, down to Texas in the early 80s or late 1870s, by the name of William Chittenden. And he wrote this the year after attending the very first Cowboys Christmas ball at the old Star Hotel in downtown Anson. And it starts out here: the Cowboys Christmas ball, way out in West Texas, where the Brazos waters flow, where the cattle are a-browsing and the Spanish ponies grow, where northers come a-whistling from the panhandle plains, with prairie dogs sneezing like they was blowing out their brains, where coyotes come a-howling round the ranches after dark, and the mockingbirds are singing to the lovely meadowlark, where the possum and the badgers and the rattlesnakes abound, and monstrous stars are winking over the wilderness profound, where lonesome dusty prairies melt into airy streams, while the gentle mountains slumber in heavenly kind of dreams, where the antelope are grazing and the lonely drovers call. It was there I first attended the Cowboys Christmas ball.
Wow.
I like that. I felt like we needed
some music.
We need some riders in the sky underneath that or something.
Kurt playing guitar in the background or something. You know.
Next time you recite that, I'm going to play lightly on a classical guitar.
Yes.
We got about 3 weeks to work that up, so we'll get on that.
Okay.
Hey, Mike, you need to come to the studio and recite that in a recording studio. Let me put some music behind that.
Oh, wouldn't that be great? And then we can play it at the I bet the Cowboys Christmas ball would let us play it there. You know?
Absolutely. We got it, Mike. You got to come up here. You've never been to the studio, right?
I promise you, I'm coming on Steve's next trip. I promise.
Okay. All right, good. We'll get you in here. We're going to do that. I'm going to make that a priority.
All right, good.
All right. Good
I love it when a plan comes together.
Beautiful. Well, Brent, I'm going to have to get up in here too, because I'm mixing Steve's album, so I'm going to have to run.
Well, you better hurry up. We've been waiting a long time for that album.
I know. I'm working on it right now, but I don't know how long you guys are wanting to stay on.
I think it's probably about time to jump off here. It's straight up top of the hour, and I know a lot of people got their holiday stuff to do here, so we'll, in honor of their time, step away here. But thank you guys so much for joining us here. Can we get some breaking news here? How long are we looking until we see some new music from Mr. Steve Markwardt?
Well, I'm mixing it right now as we speak. It'll probably be done by Monday. So his new album should be ready to go into print. I'm thinking in a week or two it should be coming out. So I'm looking forward to that, because man, it's I think we beat the last one. I really do. I tell you,
that says a lot. That says a lot. Yeah, so
I'm really looking forward to it.
Be paying attention. We will be getting you more details on that. Can't wait to share more of that music. You know, we've been hearing it since the first recording back last March. So I feel like I've known these songs forever, but I can't wait for everybody else to hear them. Yeah.
Tell everybody how to tune into to your program, Brent.
Absolutely. So make sure you're checking us out here with the Tractors and Troubadours, which is our weekly podcast found at ruralstrongmedia.com or wherever you get your podcasts. We've got the best in agriculture information, as well as great old traditional country music, Western swing, little bluegrass, little Southern rock, and you're not going to want to miss it. It comes out every Friday. We just dropped a new episode at midnight today, and we feature one artist every week. This week, since we're getting into the Christmas season, Mr. Steve Markwardt and Swingin' Santa Claus is the song this week, with some help from Kurt Ryle on that one. So make sure you go listen to that. Also, make sure you check us out on Rural Strong Radio, It's our 24/7 streaming radio station found at ruralstrongmedia.com or on the Live 365 streaming radio app for your mobile device. There you can find us 24/7, playing a lot of that great Western swing, some traditional country music, some independent music, a lot of folks from Clarksville Creative Sound on there, and just a lot of great music, and also some ag programming there to get you through your day. We're going 24/7, and we've got everything from Jimmy Rogers and Bob Wills on down to Cody Johnson and folks like that. So you're not going to want to miss that. Again, ruralstrongmedia.com or the Live 365 streaming radio app. And Kurt, we're overdue for another Road Stories. We're going to have to get on there with another Road Stories here soon as well.
That's coming. We're definitely going to do that within the next. It may not be this coming Monday because of the holidays, but the following we're going to try to do that.
Stay tuned for those. We pop those in there where we can here. I know everybody's got a lot going on here, but it's always fun when I can go one-on-one with Kurt and he can bring in some folks, and we have a lot of fun with that show too. And thank you again to everybody who tunes in each week for this show. We couldn't do it without you. Thank you for showing up to the Cowtown Birthplace of Western Swing Festival. Make sure you get the next one on your calendar. Make sure you get February the 3rd on your calendar for the showcase. And just thank you to everybody for all you guys do. Hope you have a great Black Friday and great rest of your Thanksgiving weekend and great holiday season. We'll see you here again next Friday, 10 a.m. Central, for another Fort Worth Musical Moments. For Mike Markwardt, for Steve Markwardt, who's on his way to Dallas, and for Kurt Ryle, it's Brent Adams. Have a great week, and we will see you on down the road for another Fort Worth Musical Moments. Have a good day, everybody. You've been watching Fort Worth Musical Moments, a production of Rural Strong Media and Clarksville Creative Sound, copyright 2023. Please join the Fort Worth Musical Moments Facebook group and join us each Friday at 10 a.m. Central as we introduce you to another key figure in Fort Worth's musical heritage.